What's up? New York natives, Underground Art Series. I'm Stuart Bronstein. I'm here on City Island to go visit Tommy Houlihan at City Island Tattoos. So here we are at City Island Tattoos with Tommy Houlihan. So when did you start tattooing?
I started tattooing in 1987. I guess I was 17 at the time. And I started working on people who didn't really give a shit about themselves. Junkies and skinheads and that kind of thing, so it was easy to practice on them. I didn't start with like the grapefruit and the pig skin like everybody else says they do, which they don't, but they do, you know, that's what they say. But yeah, and that's how I got into it.
And you started, where did you first start tattooing? I mean, you're from New York originally?
Yeah, I'm from Hell's Kitchen, 48th Street, 9th Avenue. My whole family's from there. They have that old school vernacular, you know.
Something lost today?
Something very lost. You don't hear the old school vernacular nowadays like you did for my family, for my grandparents and stuff. They were really, you know, they would tell tales out of school, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about tattooing. So, yeah, tell me a little bit about your style. Do you have a specific style? Do you?
To be a professional tattooer, I believe that you should really be proficient in doing everything. You shouldn't just restrict yourself to one thing and limit yourself to one thing, because then you're only going to do one kind of customer. I prefer to be able to do everything, and I get everybody that way.
So why City Island? Why'd you come out here?
I started dating one of my customers who lived out here, and I wound up moving out with her, and I lived with her for 7 years, and then she threw me out, and I just stayed.
So how do you feel about the state of New York now? I mean, and also the tattoo business in itself. I mean, how's it different than it used to be, or?
When I started tattooing, it was, first of all, it was still illegal in New York, and by the way, I actually helped the city write, the Department of Health write the test for the tattooers. There was 12 established artists working, and this was back in, I believe, '94. So the Department of Health got a hold of us and gave us all questionnaires, and they made the test for tattooing based on those questionnaires. So I was one of the original guys, and I actually got grandfathered in. I didn't have to take the test or anything like that.
So you feel like tattooing has changed a lot, and then I mean, is it?
You know what? You know what's changed about tattooing? Social media and computerizing it. A lot of the tattoos that I see, when they look too good to be true, because they are, because people Photoshop everything, and that's actually lying to your customer. You're showing them photographs of stuff that you've done, and you pass it off that you actually did it exactly that way, when it's actually been Photoshopped to hell. And that's false advertisement, and it's lying, and I don't agree with that kind of thing. So I only use one machine for everything. And this is an old motor from an 8-track player.
Wow.
And I crazy glued it onto an old crappy frame. And there you go. And that's it, and that's what I use. So this is the original type of tattoo machine. It's a rotary. It's a real rotary. It's not a rotary with a spring like everybody else uses. This is the real deal. This thing just goes back up, spins like this. The needle goes up and down, and there is no leeway on it. So, you know, if you use it too hard, you can actually split somebody like a razor. But one of the reasons I like these is because there's no vibration and no noise.
Wow.
That's the machines that everybody uses now, which is these, which is just a modified doorbell, and you will hear and see the difference. Big difference. That's one of the reasons I like to work alone, because I don't want to be hearing the machines all day.
Right. So that's interesting. So why do you build? I mean, why do you build your own pieces? I mean, why not just buy them from the companies?
Well, years ago when I was, younger, I used to buy the machines, and they were good machines. But they don't really make a good rotary tattoo machine like that one. I started getting carpal tunnel after about 15 years of using those, the vibration and everything. So I looked up, I did a little research on rotaries, and I built one, and there was no vibration, no nothing. Now, when I was using the other type of machine, my hands would go numb when I was working. It doesn't happen with this. There's no vibration. It's a little difficult to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's like butter. It's beautiful.
And so, obviously you're an artist, so why tattooing? I mean, you're probably taking lots of routes.
Well, when I started making my living as an artist when I was 12. Back in the 80s, I used to do, paint the jackets, denim jackets, Iron Maiden and Slayer and all that kind of stuff. And when I was, I guess, 12 or 13, I don't know what actually made me start getting into thinking about tattoos, but I used to take a little sewing needle and put little smiley faces on all my friends' arms. So every mother in the neighborhood hated me because every kid had a little smiley face or a little cross on his arm. But I just never stopped. It just progressed from there. I never really stopped. I have an image here of Batman that I did. It was actually published in quite a few magazines. And the story with this was this detective, he was a narcotics detective, and he had actually shot and killed a crackhead. And Al Sharpton protested the precinct where he was, saying, oh, he came out like Batman, they made a big stink about it. But that detective, got the moniker Batman, so he came in and got a Batman tattoo from me. So there it is.
Well, if you're ever out in City Island, come check out Tommy Houlihan.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the interview, man.
Likewise.
Pleasure.